Here's the start of the chicken coop. All this wood is going to turn into the chicken coop. Alright, so far what we've done is we've buried in the stones for a foundation. We built the stilts for this, put it up 3 feet off the ground just to keep the chickens dry and give them a place to go underneath as well. And then we put the floor on. So that's all pretty simple. Just a couple of things with the construction here is to make sure we had a good strength on the floor. The way we put the beams in is, you can't really see it very well. Let's see if we can turn the light on there. There you go. We notched it into the wood here so that it is completely sitting on the beam or on the floor. And as you can see, the floor is just built with pallet. It's a long pallet, 8-foot pallet that we seamed right in the middle. Right there to add 2 pallets together to get an extra 2 feet. And then we put a beam going down the middle to support that. There you go, and we notched it in right there. And we toe-nailed it together, as you can see. Right there, we nailed it in and toe-nailed it, so that's not going to go anywhere. Alright, so that's the base of it right now. And we'll continue adding to this. Now we're going to start to do the framing of the walls, which we're probably going to do just 12 inches on center, just to keep it the same as the pallet wood itself is. And we'll be able to follow the nail marks right there for the framing purposes. Alright. Alright, so right now we got the 4 walls framed in. They're not attached yet. Don't jump. And so I'm working on the roof, on the trusses for the roof. Alright, so I've already framed in the 4 walls, as you can see right there. It's framed. Got one of them just down there. And I got another one over here. So the framing for the walls are done. And I was getting to the roof trusses. I was having a little bit of an issue, so I wanted to show you all what I did. So what I did is I went ahead and I cut the top angle. I cut it at 30 degrees just because I knew that that would give me the pitch that I wanted. And I cut the 2 boards to be the same. I went ahead and I cut the angle down here at 15 degrees, right here. And now, in order to figure out the length that I need it to be, instead of doing the math and figuring it out, I figured what I would do. I need you to hold it now, okay? Come on this side. I figured what I would do is I would go ahead and line up the angle right here. Make sure it's even. And then I would come down here and line up my speed square to where it becomes a 90-degree angle right here. And then I would just mark the board. Fix that again, make sure it's lined up. Where it was marked. And just mark the board straight across. And that'll give me my angle that I'm going to need down here in order for the board to sit down on the sill plate correctly. And obviously we make sure the other side is the same. Now, in order to make sure that that was all lined up right, what I did is I made sure that this point right here was at the exact center point of my floor. We then went ahead and we measured, knowing that this board right here is the exact same as that board, and it would be a mirror image. I went ahead, after connecting the points up there, I went ahead and I measured and made sure that it lines up in the same exact spot. As you can see down here, it's roughly 22.5 inches. From there, and from the edge of the wall in, it's about 13.5 inches. So from the edge of the wall in, it's 13.5 inches. And then from the top of the floor in, it is 22.5 inches, which was the same as this side. So I know it's falling in exactly in the same place. So once I make the cut there, transfer that one for the other side, it should be the exact same or equal and should be good for the trusses. So as I do this, once I get it in place, I went ahead and I put some cleats so that once I cut the other boards, I'll know where to put them. And I'm going to put a gusset right at the top. Okay, so I talked about using these cleats and making some gussets for the rafters. So what I'm going to do today is just go ahead and show you guys how I'm using this in order to make my rafters. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a board down, grab another one of these, make sure my points, my steeper point goes to the top. And the way I align these up is on my cleat, I made it so that this corner here, this board right here, that's the start. And then I just make sure everything's nice and tight. Bring that one up, put it together. And again, as I go through, I just check everything, making sure everything is in line. Now I got those two. I grab smaller boards here with the narrower end up against it, and you notice the end hits the edge of the wall. And we'll do the one on the other side. I don't want that one. And we just touch it and we put it up against it. Now, this is the important part with this. We're going to go ahead and we've cut some gussets here that I just traced. I put on the wood just like this, and I went ahead and I traced it on there. And then I just made a whole bunch of them that I needed. So there we go. We got that. Everything is lined up. We're going to go ahead and put that into position. Let's see if I can. So again, we just go ahead, we make sure everything's lined up. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm using a brad nailer just to pin it down so it doesn't move on me. And then we nail it into place. Once the top one's done, I go ahead and I move over onto the bottom. Now again, this may not be perfect. This may not line up perfectly. It's more important that this angle is correct and that they're together. And then we're going to put our other gusset on it, making sure that the gusset does not go above the boards. Now, if this one was going to be one of the edge, or one of the, either the back rafter or the front rafter, you would leave it just like this. However, where this is going to be one of the rafters that are in the middle, what we're going to do is flip it over. And now, because you've already got the gussets in play, you don't have to worry about it so much of where it's going. You're just going to go ahead and put the other gussets on. We got the chicken coop all framed out here, and we started putting the roof on that side, and again, still got plenty of room here, and there it is. So we're doing the framing today and trying to sheath it up. We got a nice little pole coming out of the top there.
This is how much we got done. Are you taking the video, Daddy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Emma, you want to do the rest? Yeah, sure. Just let me get up. Ages 1 to 4. I can't reach. Get in. I'm pretty much stuck. Emily has to move the buggy, and I do too. I'm doing it this way. This nail is bloody.